In the 1950s, Superman had America locked in a hold tighter than the titular character's Phantom Zone prison. The Man of Tomorrow wasn't even 20 years old, yet here he was being represented in comics, radio shows, and in the new medium of television. The fact that Superman was one of the first characters to make the jump from page to screen pretty much cemented the character's legacy in popular culture. DC Comics, and particularly their television division, was riding on a high wave as the 1950s were coming to a close, but success can be a double edged sword, and nothing lasts forever. Superman was still printing money, but producers wanted more. Due to a variety of issues, including the death of Perry White's actor John Hamilton, dissatisfaction from Superman star George Reeves, and studio pressure from DC, they couldn't simply film more Adventures of Superman at that time period. Now, one thing I would like to make clear from this video is that this did not come about due to the unfortunate passing of George Reeves. It is often reported that this show was created as a way to continue the legacy of Superman without Mr. Reeves, but that timeline just doesn't add up. Quite simply, this was a plan concocted to generate more money from an already established property, with the benefit of not having to pay the salaries of TV stars. And what a simple plan it was. Replace Superman with another resident of Krypton. Producer Whit Ellsworth had been kicking around a few ideas, the first of which was a prototypical Smallville, a simple swap of Superman out for a younger Clark Kent, this time under the title Adventures of Superboy. However, it is the second attempt at an Adventures of Superman replacement that I am really interested in. You see, after realizing that simply de-aging and recasting Superman wasn't going to work, Whit Ellsworth and company got to work on their next project, The Adventures of Superpup.
The Adventures of Superpup.
Now, why they didn't utilize the already established character of Krypto the Superdog, we'll likely never know. What I'll also never understand is why they decided to go with these Sid and Marty Krofft-like costume abominations instead of focusing on animation where Superman was already successful. I'm guessing that they figured that they could use the same sets and props from the original show to reduce costs. Now strap in, put on your official Superman underoos, and let's dive right into the weird adventures of Superpup. And before we go on, I should mention that the footage I've found for this pilot starts out in color, but the later half has only been found in black and white. I guess that's the problem with covering long-forgotten relics of the 1950s. Now, the pilot starts out with the narrator doing his best to sell this fever dream to sponsors.
Your product, the best of its kind in the world, presents The Adventures of Superpup.
We cut to a quick opening shot of Superpup in the classic Superman style, but this time he's accompanied by the royalty-free William Tell overture instead of the familiar Superman theme. And from there, we are introduced to a character named Morency, or maybe Montgomery, I'm not actually sure, but this mouse character informs us that besides us, he is the only other person that is aware Bark Bent is Superpup.
Yep, that's Superpup. And only you and I know that Superpup is really Bark Bent, star reporter for the Daily Bugle. Wow!
Hey, I never said the show was very original. Also, something to note that Bark Bent works at the Daily Bugle instead of the Daily Planet. Now, this was actually a few years before Spider-Man would debut, so it seems like this is just a coincidence. But anyway, this mouse is pretty much a Jimmy Olsen stand-in who lives in Bark Bent's desk drawer, and he lives off the scraps of Superpup's uneaten sandwiches. Good old Morency here, he was just enjoying his day when on the intercom in the office starts to literally rattle up and down.
Gee whiz, why doesn't somebody answer this thing? Bart, grab the intercom, will you? Huh? The intercom, can't you hear it? Oh.
One thing I can say about this show is it has no shortage of whimsy. Bark is called into his boss, Terry Bite's office, where he is accompanied by the other main character, Pamela Poodle. Yeah, I guess they just kind of gave up on naming these characters at this point. What seems to really throw me off during these dialogue scenes is that the mascot heads rarely move or open their mouths. It's like they're communicating telepathically. Now let's check in on what they're saying, shall we?
I just wanted to tell you what a fine job I think you and Pamela did in helping the police put Professor Sheepdip in jail.
Wait, what was that character's name?
Professor Sheepdip.
Oh, Sheep Dip. Okay. So Bark, being the dweeb that he is, forgets that people don't know he's Super Pup and mindlessly almost blows his cover right here. Now, thankfully, his coworkers are just as clueless as him.
We could never have done it without the help of Super Pup.
Oh, it was nothing.
Why are you taking the bow? It's a cinch you know, Super Pup.
Me? Well, anyway, it'll be a long time before Professor Sheepdip gets out of jail.
Now we cut to Professor Sheepdip in jail, which is really no problem because he has his hacksaw that he was able to apparently sneak past this droopy dog-looking dude. I don't quite understand where Sheepdip goes after sawing through the bars, as he's never seen exiting the jail cell, and yet here he is at some point in the back door waiting for his lackey.
Hurry up, you blundering nincompoop.
Yeah, I'm trying, boss.
Snap out of it. Find the right key.
No, I didn't know right key. Well, I do. Where's the key? Oh, there's no key. The blighter's gone.
Hurry up, will you please hurry and give me the right key. I must get out of here.
That's the one. That's the key. I told you I'd find it, boss.
Where is the getaway car?
Right over there, boss.
Following that daring escape, the professor and his sidekick, who looks like a reject from the Toon Patrol in Who Framed Roger Rabbit, set up shop in a meth lab that would make Gus Fring jealous. Armed with paper airplanes and the power of an atomic bomb, they have a plan to do something. It's not really explained, but first, they have to find a way to open this door without being able to see out of their giant puppet heads. So it turns out that the plan is to sneak into the Daily Bugle office disguised as a grandfather clock, a plan that works surprisingly well.
What time is it? The time? Oh, the time is exactly, Thank you, sir.
I'm starting to feel like maybe I'm not the target audience for this show. Okay, now we arrive at the black and white portion of today's program, and it turns out Super Pup kind of sucks at his job because he ends up throwing everything except the rigged grandfather clock out of his boss's office. When he finally flies the bomb out of the office, he haphazardly drops it to the ground below with zero concern for pedestrians.
What happened? Where are we?
Are we even sure we're rooting for the right team here? But having their plans foiled, our dastardly duo takes to poodle napping. The plan is to strap Pamela to an absurdly large and pointy missile, but Super Pup is on the case. During this scene, we have the mouse stepping in to explain to us that the villain's new car isn't a continuity error. No.
Perhaps you wonder why Professor Sheepdip and Wolfingham are using a different car this time. Well, this is gonna be a rough ride, and they didn't want to wreck the new car.
After that, we get a shot of Super Pup untying Pamela and allowing the rocket to careen uncontrollably. Thankfully, it finds its way directly to Sheepdip's new car. Also, luckily for us, every employee from the Daily Bugle shows up with the police to arrest the evil Professor Sheepdip and end this horror show for all of us. Seeing that his job is done, Super Pup manages to find a trampoline hiding just to the left of the screen and launch himself into the stratosphere, and just like this show, never be seen again.